Hello everyone, and thank you for attending the WorkPool Tech Showcase. Our agenda today is a brief background on who we are, what we do, and explain the concept of a business nervous system, and then to provide you with a high-level overview of the WorkPool platform and showcase some of its functions with a specific focus on the accounting and finance industry. Then lastly, I'll go over some of our fees and how we provide each business with a bespoke solution that complements the way that they work. So going back to the year 2002, we were a group of 5 very different small businesses sharing some of the same staff and shareholders. We had an accounting practice, we had a back office and administration center, we were doing IT development and consulting, we had a financial advisory practice, and we also had a company focused on educating and coaching professional advisors. The problem we had was that while we all worked together, we couldn't really find a tool that would work in all of these businesses. What worked well for the one did not translate well for the other, and we were pushing the limits of things like Outlook, early CRM solutions. We had our own in-house Access database and notes. We shared a network drive with many files and anything we could dump there, and we were duplicating and transposing a lot of information on spreadsheets to keep track of it all and to report on it all. Of course, being developers ourselves, we took up the challenge and we set about to build a solution for ourselves. So we looked at what the people were doing, what they were using, and we took the most common elements and requirements from every business and software, and we combined that into one system. And that was essentially the birth of a business nervous system that would then unify our users, our systems, and our processes. The change was actually so dramatic that many of our clients commented and noticed the difference, and they said, but how do you always know what's going on? How do you keep track of things? How do you have access to all your information in real time? And many of them were facing the same challenges because of fairly recent legislation and new compliance that were applicable to them and to us. So we didn't set out to create a commercial product, but there was obviously a huge demand for something like WorkPool, especially in the small to medium enterprise space where budgets and technology options were quite limited. Also, our solution succeeded where many of the other singularly focused ones failed because we took a holistic, multi-dimensional approach to solving problems. And the result was just like email works everywhere, WorkPool works everywhere, in every business and across multiple industries. As indicated by this grid, the WorkPool platform or basic tool set is the same for all of our clients, but we apply and configure it differently in each business based on that business requirements or the way that they work, and this can also be tweaked and changed over time. We've worked with many accountants over the years, so we have a good understanding of their typical requirements, but we also know that each business and the people involved are unique. We don't believe in just using technology for the sake of it. It must add value and complement what you do. And our goal from the outset was to provide a holistic solution, which is why we combined the following business functions into a single system. So if you already have a solution for some of these in place and it's working well, then that's not a problem. You can continue to use them and you just connect them to WorkPool to fill the gaps and glue it all together. We don't believe in reinventing the wheel. So for example, you don't see a financial system on this grid, and that's because there are already mature systems out there to choose from that you can connect to WorkPool. And normally we would spend time discussing each one of these functions in detail, but for the sake of time I'm going to focus on only some of them and on the most popular applications within the accounting industry. So starting with tasks, task and workflow management is obviously core to many businesses to ensure that the work gets done on time, consistently and within budget. We have 3 types of tasks. We have normal tasks or to-dos as we call them, processes where you can control the flow and allocation of work and chain these together almost like a chain of tasks, and then we also have recurring tasks for repeat actions like monthly payroll, VAT, annual returns and so on, which you can load once and then WorkPool will kick them off at the appropriate time. The task management and workflow engine is quite mature. It's been around for many years, and we have a lot of different screens and profiles to complement each person's unique way of working, both in a high volume or in a low volume working environment. Our first step is normally to get everyone connected and on the same technological level. We ensure that the entire business has a single point of reference and platform for managing their work. You can track work in progress. You can see who is busy with what, not just in your department, but also per client and in other departments like secretarial or tax. And as a manager, you can reprioritize and reassign tasks as necessary in real time to manage deadlines and capacity. This does not mean that everyone needs to work in the same way. Some managers are much more hands-on, others are not. Some staff need more structure and guidance where others can work independently. So we build the processes to match your way of working. These are normally done as part of the implementation, and we help you to get going quite quickly. But WorkPool has a visual process designer that you can use to also build and change your own processes, so you're not dependent on us. And then keep in mind that processes can span multiple departments and can also push and pull information to or from other systems or other databases, and automate things like online bank checks or credit checks, as long as those are available on API services. From a client relationship management or CRM perspective, we find that most companies are looking for two things. Firstly, having a single client view where anyone in the business with permission can see what's going on for any client, access all communications, and to centralize all the client documentation in one place with configurable binders to store specific information like financial statements, agreements, and KYC or FICA details. Secondly, they look for a database with configurable views to store data fields like phone numbers and addresses on both clients, service providers, and business partners, and to be able to use this in data mining, reporting, or sending out bulk communications like emails or text messages to remind them of important deadlines or general information. WorkPool can also pull information from other databases and display this against the client's profile in WorkPool, and also push information from within WorkPool to another system based on predefined actions. We also address legislation like POPI and GDPR to provide clients with ways to manage access to information on multiple levels. Even in our integration with other systems like Xero, we've made provision for clients to link up a single WorkPool instance to multiple Xero instances, allowing them to have their own access strategy to share information in the group. We continue to work with vendors to add standard integration options or use existing mechanisms that we've developed over the years to link bespoke or legacy systems. So for scheduling and timesheets, we actually find that many companies are still running separate systems. One to do their planning and scheduling. They might have another one to keep track of all the work in progress. They might have another one to keep track of time, which is often logged after the fact. And then some of them have another system like an HR system to keep track of any exceptions like annual study leave. So WorkPool provides an integrated approach that solves these problems. We take the traditional calendar and we add to that information like the type of event, for example a meeting or formal training or study leave, and we link these to clients or projects so that you can report on them and see where your time is going. So here we can see one example of a company's way to plan their audit schedule for the year, where they match the partner or partners with managers and clerks to do the jobs. We can also change this and configure it differently so that you can schedule jobs by client or whatever matches your practices planning methodology. A cool thing is that WorkPool will book this time on the people's calendars as events so that they can see their whole week, month, and year in advance. And these are also recorded as timesheet entries automatically against the correct clients. All of this can also be exported into Excel if you need to import it into another system. We've also created a time assist feature for those who need more fine-grained control over time or who perform many tasks per day. And WorkPool will send them each a daily snapshot per email of what they've completed, the time logged, and also the tasks due today, as well as any things dropped the previous day to help them stay on track and on top of everything. An additional benefit of logging work in WorkPool is that you get a wealth of information, and you can create a knowledge base that becomes searchable, which can be quite useful in training new staff and to learn from previous cases or more experienced resources. WorkPool contains many standard reports, which we can't get into now, including looking at volumes per person for the team to benchmark people against each other, track KPIs, look at profitability on resources, on clients, tracking estimates versus actual time on processes, looking at, for example, your standard services and company secretarial and seeing if your rates match up to the time that goes into it. And there are many, many more other ones, and we often build bespoke reports for clients, which is fairly common. Managing email effectively and also in line with your company policies and procedures is obviously quite critical and can take up a lot of time. So WorkPool works with your existing email service provider like Office 365, Gmail or Exchange, and can either replace your existing email client like Outlook, or you can use it as an overlay on your existing email provider and continue to use your current email client. WorkPool contextualizes every email so that you can track and see what actions have been performed and also where it has been filed, even in multiple folders, to assist you to find it later on. If the same email was received by multiple parties, any one person doing the work of linking and filing it automatically does the work for everyone else as well. There are many other benefits to using the WorkPool email client. For example, you get shared filing to introduce a company way of saving details. You can reduce filing mistakes due to suggested folders. It integrates your emails into the audit trail of tasks, so you have a complete evidentiary string of all the actions taken. And you can also use personalized templates to ensure everyone in the enterprise communicates in the same professional manner. Some of our clients have even gone as far as to introduce smart processing, where an email, for example, coming in from the receiver of revenue or a website can be read by WorkPool, linked to the right folder, kick off a task and assign it to the right person without any human intervention. And there are many, many other examples of this where WorkPool can automate and speed up execution. So where client information is stored in their folder, company information is stored in a document repository. Company policies, procedures, marketing material, training material, all of this can be stored in one place, and you have full access control and can also keep track of all the different versions of those documents. These documents can also be used to generate documents, for example, welcome letters or resolutions, and can also be linked to emails as demonstrated before. WorkPool essentially gives every department or group mailbox the ability to operate as a service desk, where you can issue job tickets automatically and send autoresponders to clients when they request work. If you're working with outsourced parties, you can also allocate work to them, even if they don't have access to WorkPool, and then WorkPool will email or text them to inform them of the work, where you get the benefit of tracking their performance in the system. WorkPool also provides companies with a bulletin board or intranet where they can publish information such as formal changes to policies and procedures, legislation, or even informal events like team building, birthdays, or company successes. This is also quite nice because it builds up a history of the business over time. Most businesses have items like laptops, printers, company vehicles, and office furniture that they need to keep track of. So WorkPool allows you to do this in one place where you can also manage the maintenance, service contracts, and warranties. It works almost like an electronic library where you can check things out to a person or a department and then check it back in again upon return. With more and more people working remotely now and companies downscaling their office space, they can also use WorkPool to book out meeting rooms or hot desks in advance to ensure that it's available when people come into the office. We also have a mobile app that gives you access to many of these same functions and even includes extra features when you're not in front of a computer. We have examples where clients introduced only a part of WorkPool into their practice, like tasks and processes, and this reduced the non-billable hours and increased the billable time to such an extent that it paid for the WorkPool subscription a few times over. Also, by adding WorkPool, you can often replace or reduce other software in the business like CRM, timesheets, email clients, or even HR applications. Please don't be overwhelmed by the number of functions and tools. You only use what you need. And we help you to break this down and focus on the parts that you would be using in your practice. Our subscription is priced per user, so you only pay for the users you need. And in the subscription, all the modules are included, and including some of the features that we didn't go into today. You can either go with the cloud subscription, which will take care of your server at 870 Rand per month, and you can add additional space as you go. Or you can have your own server on-premise where you will pay a monthly fee and then attach an appropriate SLA depending on your requirements. We have an approach where we will first do an assessment, which is normally at a fixed cost. At the end, we will create a project plan and a budget that's based on your budget and your timelines and the resources that you have available. Then we will do the implementation and training, again based on the plan that you agree to. And we offer ongoing assistance after that to help you through the change management and to keep on tweaking processes, add more reports, and whatever you need to run successfully. If you have any questions or would like to look at WorkPool for your business, please reach out to us on events@workpool.co.za. And thank you very much for your time.